When your cat bites you after a long petting session, do you actually know what they're trying to say? You think it's sudden aggression or that they've just had enough. But behind that quick nip, there's something deeper most people miss. It's one of the most emotionally loaded things your cat can do. And if you miss it or respond wrong, which most owners do, you might push them away and quietly damage the trust you've spent years building. Let's start with what that bite really means. 1. The bite that isn't anger. Have you ever been stroking your cat, watching them purr with half-closed eyes, only for them to suddenly turn and bite your hand? Most people think it's anger or a random mood swing. Here's what's actually happening. Your cat isn't mad. They're communicating a clear boundary once their sensory threshold is reached. Behavioral scientists call this petting-induced overstimulation. What this means for your bond is that your cat feels safe enough with you to speak up instead of suffering in silence. Think about that for a second. This gentle warning bite is their way of protecting the relationship, not ending it. And here's what most people don't realize. If your cat ever starts hiding instead of biting when overstimulated, don't brush it off. We'll get to what that really means at the end, and it's something most owners wish they'd understood sooner. 2. The science behind the switch. Imagine your fingers moving along their back in that perfect rhythm, and suddenly their tail starts thrashing. You assume you're doing something wrong, or that they're rejecting your love. Here's what's actually happening. A 2019 study published in the Journal of Feline Medicine and Surgery found that petting-related aggression accounts for up to 40% of all aggression cases veterinarians see. Researchers who study feline behavior discovered that repetitive touch floods a cat's nervous system with signals until it crosses from pleasure into irritation. But what the research also revealed is that cats who receive this clear boundary respect show lower overall stress levels in the home, which means your response literally protects their emotional well-being. Think about that for a second. This isn't random. It's your cat's precise way of teaching you their unique language of comfort. And here's where it gets even more powerful. 3. The invisible claim that comes before the bite. Picture the moment your cat leans in, pressing their cheek against your hand as you stroke them. Common assumption is that the bite comes out of nowhere with no warning. Here's what's actually happening. Before the overstimulation sets in, your cat has been actively using the scent glands on their cheeks, forehead, and chin to mark you with their pheromones. Studies on domestic cats reveal this is their way of claiming you as family, mixing their unique scent with yours so you carry the "we belong together" signature. What this means about the bond is that every long petting session starts as an act of love and territory. They are literally making you part of their inner circle. Think about that for a second. And here's where it gets even more powerful. The bite only happens after they've already claimed you, because only family members are allowed close enough to reach that threshold. And hey, if this makes sense to you, hit like and subscribe. It helps us reach more cat lovers who actually want to understand what their cat is really saying. 4. The ancient instinct your cat adapted just for you. Your cat curls into your lap, invites the long strokes, then delivers that quick, gentle bite. You wonder why they can't just enjoy it forever like a dog might. Here's what's actually happening. This behavior comes straight from their wild ancestors and kittenhood. Mother cats groom their kittens in short, deliberate bursts, stopping the moment the little ones show any sign of overload. Domestic cats have adapted this exact survival instinct for their human family, turning what was once a brief wild interaction into a deeper, chosen bond with you. What this reveals about how your cat views you is that they see you as their safe person, the one they trust enough to recreate that ancient maternal rhythm with. And here's what makes this even more meaningful. 5. The bite they reserve only for their chosen person. Have you noticed your cat never lets a stranger pet them long enough to reach this point? You might think it's just coincidence or personality. Here's what's actually happening. Cats don't do this with everyone. They only allow prolonged petting and then give that honest boundary bite to the one person in the home they have fully accepted. Behavioral scientists have observed that this selective vulnerability happens only with their primary bonded human. What this means is that your cat has chosen you. They don't offer this level of honest communication to visitors or even other family members. Think about that for a second. So the next time that bite happens, remember, this is proof you are their person. The ultimate revelation most owners never see. Remember earlier when I said if your cat ever starts hiding instead of biting, don't brush it off? This is what I was talking about. Your cat leans in for one last stroke, then bites and leaps away. You think it's rejection. Here's what's actually happening. That bite is the deepest act of trust your cat can offer. In the wild, showing any discomfort could mean vulnerability to predators. By biting instead of fleeing or hiding pain, your cat is choosing to be completely honest with you, something they would never risk with anyone else. This is what most owners never realize. What this reveals about how your cat views you is pure devotion. They are making themselves emotionally naked, trusting that you will understand and protect the bond rather than punish the message. And here's where it gets even more powerful. That tiny bite is their way of saying, "I love you enough to teach you my limits." 7. The warning when the bite suddenly changes. Your cat has always given that familiar little nip after a few minutes of petting. Then one day, it stops, or becomes harder, more frequent, or happens with almost no petting at all. Here's what's actually happening. A sudden change in this pattern can signal hidden pain, stress, or illness that your cat has been hiding until now. Feline behavior experts note that when cats stop communicating boundaries the way they always have, it's often their quiet way of saying something deeper is wrong. How to respond correctly is simple. Stop the session immediately, give them space, and watch for other signs like reduced appetite or hiding. Then consult your vet without delay. Don't ignore it. This is your cat's final, most vulnerable plea for help from the person they trust most. So when your cat bites you after a long petting session, do you actually know what they're trying to say? That bite was never random aggression. It was never rejection. That's not anger. That's your cat trusting you with their most honest boundary after first claiming you as family. And that simple bite, it was never small to them, and it shouldn't be small to you either. The next time it happens, pause, smile quietly, and remember, your cat just chose you all over again.